Hey y'all, we're back with another episode of Pretty Messy Human with your girl Whitney. I am in my office today. I'm not in the studio today. I was like, you know what? I just feel like sitting down with y'all and chit chatting. But really, I wanted to talk about pregnancy because it is rewiring my brain, that's for sure. And it's also something that I'm going through. And so I know a lot of my content recently has been focused on pregnancy because it's like obviously the thing that I'm going through every second of every day. And so if you followed me for a while or if you're new here, I am the type of person that just loves to talk about things that I'm particularly going through. I'm not very good at talking about things that I haven't experienced personally. And maybe that's like a flaw of mine and I should maybe work on that. I don't know, maybe not. But I just feel so much more comfortable not even giving advice, but yeah, giving some advice, being open and honest, guiding if anything, or just, trying to help people out from things that I have been through personally. And so I just wanted to give a full update on pregnancy and what's going on and the things that are coming up for me during this time because holy hell, we do not know anything about pregnancy. We're not taught about pregnancy. Like as women, we have all of these sex ed courses kind of when we're growing up, but like we really just don't know how, or at least I don't know how the body works during one of the most like biologically natural things we're supposed to know how to do, or just our body simply does it on its own. But yeah, we don't have a roadmap and we have no idea what we're doing. And a lot of the times it can feel like you're just flying blind. Like even when you're at the doctor's office, they're like, yeah, okay, come back in a month. A month. Like so much can happen in a month. Are you kidding me? Especially when you're pregnant. And like, how many questions do you have on the regular? And who are you going to talk to about those questions? So maybe this is just me being able to like chit chat with you guys about it and get a lot of these thoughts out of my head. But I also hope it's a place where people who are either pregnant or thinking about being pregnant or even had a baby and maybe are going to go through a second or third or fourth pregnancy, because this is such a inherent personal unique time period. None of our pregnancies are the same. None of us like go through the same exact symptoms. Like a lot of the things that we can feel are pretty similar, but like the intricacies of it will be very different. And because I am somebody that just shoots from the hip and just shares what I want to share, maybe there'll be something in this podcast for you that can really help you and just bring like a new perspective to things. Because we always hear that pregnancy changes you, right? Like as soon as you find out you're pregnant or when you become a mother, it's like something that changes you. And I didn't really believe that. I'm not going to lie. I'm like, okay, I'm sure it changes you in some ways, but I guess I just didn't realize like how much it really just like flips your brain even before the baby has come, because it is something that you live with every single day, from the point of how you're sleeping to the supplements that you can or cannot take to the workouts that you're doing to nutrition, like the clothes that you wear, how you're feeling. Everything is shifted and centered around this one thing in your life that it wasn't prior before. And that has been something that's opened my eyes to when it comes to what we're actually using on our bodies, y'all, and our skincare and our nails and all of the things that all of us love to do. We can't do a lot of that while we're pregnant. Why? Because they're toxic. And it was just such an eye opening experience for me because I was like, oh crap. A lot of the things I am doing are probably putting a tax on my body just because I want to look good. And don't get me wrong, I love my Botox. I love getting my nails done. I like getting my hair dyed, which I haven't done in a really long time. Like, I like doing the aesthetically pleasing things, but it did kind of rewire me to be like, wait, hold on. If I can't use this while I'm pregnant, why am I going to use it when I'm not pregnant too? And I'm not the person that's super crunchy. by any means, but I have started like shifting a lot of my products. I have been looking more at ingredients. I have been grabbing the items that are cleaner. I think that's something I'm going to keep even postpartum when I'm not pregnant, because it's just hard for me to be like, you know what? Actually, I'm going to go back to the toxic stuff. I feel like poisoning myself today so I can have softer skin, you know? But on a deeper level, I do know that pregnancy absolutely has rewired my brain and has shifted my priorities because, you know, yes, you're growing a baby, but at the same time, I feel like you're growing a new version of yourself. And I feel like you're getting to know that new version of yourself every single day that you go through this. And it's going to continue even after you have the baby. But for some reason, as soon as pregnancy starts, it's just like opening up this entirely new world, which is something I really wanted to talk to y'all about. Was I had a conversation with my big brother not too long ago. Actually, when we called him to tell him that we were pregnant. And what's interesting is I never really wanted to have kids, you guys. It was just not something that I thought was in the cards for me. I wanted to be the independent gal that was out doing her thing, going places, wasn't tied down. I wanted to be able to make all of the decisions within my life. Like that was just something that was so important to me, or I thought was so important to me. And so I just really thought that kids weren't in the timeline for me. And I think that also had to do with a couple of things. I think one, I was in relationships to where family and kids were not the priority. So it just kind of seemed like, okay, yeah, you know, this is more so solidifying how I'm feeling about this. Everyone else is going to have kids. I don't want kids. Also, two, and this might sound terrible, so don't judge me, but it's just how I feel. And I'm going to be real with you. I don't really like being around kids. Okay. I've never been the type of person that was like, oh my God, please let me hold that baby. Or, oh my God, can I babysit? I've never babysat in my entire life. I just never had that pull. And I thought that meant I was kind of broken. I thought that meant there was something wrong with me, that I didn't have that like maternal instinct. But turns out I got pregnant and that totally flipped on its head. And I'm sitting here pregnant now thinking, oh my God, I can't believe I ever felt that way. Now, that being said, I'm still not a huge fan of kids. I have a softer spot for them. My neighbor has a 2-year-old who is just freaking adorable. And I went to the zoo with him the other day, and I would have never done that in a million years. Probably even like 5 years ago. And so I not wanting kids was just, I just didn't know, right? And I think sometimes the version of you that didn't like something or didn't even know they wanted it yet was because they hadn't experienced it yet, if that makes any sense. I just had an idea, and then I just wasn't allowing myself to go experience that or even think I wanted to experience that. And this isn't to say that everyone should have kids. I don't think everyone should have kids. If you want kids, go for it. If you don't want kids, then don't have kids. Like, I am not going to be here to judge you. I was the person that didn't want to have kids, and then I got pregnant, and I'm already thinking about baby number 2. Okay? So, life can come at you fast, and your mindset can shift on a dime, which brings me back to when I was talking to my brother. It was so cool because he mentioned to me, I'm not going to say it as perfectly as he did, but he basically told me, look, not having kids is like living in your house, and it's a beautiful house. You absolutely love it. You have your friends, you have your partner, you have your career, you have a great yard. Like, it's comfortable. You can get up and go and do whatever you want. You can dream big and not feel like anything's going to tie you down. And then one day someone says, hey, did you know that there's like a whole other arm, like a whole other wing to your house that you didn't even know existed? And my brother was like, that's what having kids is like. It's like there's this door in your house that you didn't even know was there. And once you open it, it is absolutely filled to the brim with potential. Yes, that absolutely means that it comes with challenges and it's going to be hard, but we can do hard things. We've always done hard things. But that also means you can't have one without the other. Just as much that you're going to have challenges, you're also going to have the full potential of joy and bliss and a love that you've never experienced, and bonding, and your relationship can get so much deeper. And so to me it was almost like, oh wow, okay, so that's kind of like the fullest potential of a human. And without having kids, I wouldn't even known that that was possible, or that was in reach for me, or what was in reach for me, because you just don't know what you don't know. You have to sometimes just experience things to know how you're going to feel and know how you're going to react. And I think once I heard that, I realized, oh, okay, yeah, I'm all in for kids here, because that really excited me. And I feel like if you hear that and it doesn't excite you, then maybe kids aren't for you, right? You're like, nah, I'm good. But if you do hear that and you're like, oh, wow, that's super interesting, I want to know what's on the other side of that door, then maybe kids are for you. And so if you're thinking about having kids and you don't really know, think about the wing in your house if you want to know what's behind that door, or it doesn't really interest you. When Ryan and I got pregnant, and every couple has to go through this, you have to decide if you're going to tell people you were pregnant or not, right? Like how long do you want to go from just having you and your partner know that you're pregnant, or when you want to bring in the rest of the world? And this is a very personal decision. So d- uh, take my advice or don't take my advice. I would just take it in, make up your own decision of whatever feels the absolute best for you, because this is your pregnancy first and foremost. It is no one else's. And you need to do what's 100% good for you, that's going to allow you to enjoy this moment and try to block out all the other bullshit. Because, girl, there's so much bullshit out there and you're going to be inundated with it. But I do want to talk about why Ryan and I decided to share our pregnancy, or announce our pregnancy, before the 12-week mark, which is when you're going into your second trimester and the risk of miscarriage decreases. And a lot of people traditionally wait until that time, but it just didn't make sense for me personally, because I felt like I was just hiding this huge piece of my life. Like I said a little bit earlier, I am the type of person that just wants to share. Okay. And so when I'm not sharing the most exciting thing that I have has happened to me, I feel like at this point in my life, like everything gets shut off. My creativity gets shut off. I mean, I couldn't even make content. I couldn't make a simple, stupid reel or anything like that, because I just felt like I was closed off. I couldn't be around a lot of friends and family, because again, I felt like I was hiding something from them. And I realized I just wanted to be as honest as possible to share what was happening in my life, because that's what I need to stay in flow. And that's something that really excites me. And Ryan actually told me one day when we were trying to decide, this is still very early on, this is probably like 5, 6 weeks. And he said something that like stuck with me. And what he said was, humans are wired to scan for potential future pain, which means we sometimes rob ourselves of the happiness that's available to us within this moment. And that's just being human. We don't want to get hurt in the future. And I understand that's why a lot of people wait to share their pregnancy announcement, because there is a risk of the worst happening and losing the baby. That is absolutely terrifying. I can't imagine the pain of what that feels like. And I want to be, you know, sympathetic to the people who have gone through that, because, I mean, I just didn't, I don't even know what to say that is okay to say in that situation. And so I understand why people wait for 12 weeks. So we decided to basically do it for two reasons. One, I just wanted to share it, but really deeper than that is we wanted to fully feel the excitement and the joy and all of the goodness that comes with being pregnant, and just allowing ourselves to be in that space and not preventing ourselves from that sort of happiness because of a potential future pain to come in the future. And two, I also didn't want to go through if something happened, if the worst happened, I didn't want to go through that alone. I didn't want people to be like, well, why is Whitney acting weird? I want to be surrounded by people who can support me through that time. And so it was one, let's be excited about this. And two, if God forbid something happened, then allow the community around to support me through that time. And I had total faith that we could get through that time and that space. And I still do. And, I'm 16 weeks pregnant and anything can happen. I am a realist. I don't want anything to happen. I want the healthiest baby boy that could possibly, be born in the history of all babies. But I am a realist. And by me sharing my story, I know if something happens, I'm going to have to share that too. And I know that I will be able to get through that. It will be the hardest thing that I've probably ever done in my entire life. But I also know that I want to be supported from the people around me if God forbid that were to happen. And you really, again, just have to decide what feels right for you. That's literally the only rule. But if I can just say anything to anyone, regardless of how far you are allowed to enjoy your pregnancy without bracing for the worst at every second. And that brings me into the next thing that I want to talk about is how people, strangers and friends, project so much fear onto pregnant ladies. It is driving me nuts. I cannot believe it because it's like you're never gonna sleep again. Your body, forget about it. It's never gonna look the same. Oh, in your marriage, done. Like, why do we do this to people? I posted a video talking about this exact thing because I was just so baffled by it. And thankfully, what was really great was in my comments, there was moms giving the advice of like the best advice that they could give, the coolest, the happiest, the best parts of pregnancy and parenthood. Like their bodies got stronger, better. They have abs now. They never had abs before. Their partnership is deeper. They're bonded on a deeper level. They love each other more. They have date nights. All of these things that we don't talk about because we go directly into the negative, into all of the horror stories. And I just feel like we need to stop doing that. Like, come to me and tell me the best parts of motherhood and pregnancy. Don't be coming to me and telling me your horror story while I'm looking at lemons in the grocery store. Okay. Can we all just agree to that? Because, yes, I know that this is a really hard time. But like I said earlier, we can do hard things and we can get through hard things. And what we really need is encouragement and support. We don't need all of the insane, scary stories, even if your birth story was traumatic. Everyone's pregnancy, everyone's birth is 100% unique to them. We gotta use this time to be as supportive and positive, I think, than ever. Yes, we all know bad shit can happen. That's life. All right. But we don't need to hear about it 24/7. Tell me the coolest shit. Tell me the best parts. Tell me why I should be so excited for this time in my life. Right. And I'll tell you, one of the cool things about pregnancy is that I did not expect is this time is really become like an expander for me. Like, I don't know exactly how else to describe it, but it has expanded not only what I thought was possible within myself, like the whole door analogy, but also it's pushed me to do the things that I've been wanting to do that I've kind of been putting off, that I kind of been putting on the back burner, or coming up with excuses as to why I'm not good enough to do it or why I should be afraid to do it. Or I'm just like too behind or I don't know what I'm doing. Like all the excuses that you come up with to not do something. For example, starting this podcast, pregnancy really pushed me to start this podcast because it seems like I have, limited amount of time before baby comes to not have something that needs my attention constantly that can pull me away constantly. So I'm like, I got to get this done now. And also, too, there is nothing that motivates you more than knowing that someone is about to depend on you. And it ain't just you. Okay. It's not just you being selfish and like, oh, I just don't want to do it today. Like, no, now you have someone that you got to take care of. And it's probably going to get a little bit harder when baby comes to do the things that you've been wanting to do to set yourself up for the life that you want to have. Now you're setting yourself up for you and your family. People are depending upon you. And so that lit a fire under my ass. And it's been so cool because I know that I've listened to podcasts and I've heard people talk about this one thing. You want to be successful, get married. You want to be successful, have a family. And it will change how much effort and kind of like how much don't give a fuck that you have moving forward, because you're not, at least I'm not as worried about other people's judgments. I'm not worried about if I'm going to fail as much. I'm just worried about making sure I'm doing the things that I want to be doing and to set myself up and my family up for like the best possible life that we can have. And pregnancy itself has done that for me. I was just having a conversation with a friend of mine who, she's been in med school for a really long time and she's working her absolute ass off, but she's always wanted to be a mom. I think she's about 35 or so, and geriatric pregnancy, right? We have this time limit that's shoved down our freaking throat. But I mean, that's a whole other conversation. I want to have somebody who is way smarter than me to talk more about all of that. But she wants to have a family and she just feels like if she can just get to this next step, if she can just get to the place where she wants to be financially, or in a relationship, or in that relationship, or a different house or a different neighborhood, then it'll be time to have a family. But I promise you, you'll figure it out. If you get pregnant, you will figure it out. And I'm not 100% where I want to be. I see bigger things for myself. I honestly thought maybe having a baby in the next year or two would be the best possible timing for that, but that's not what God or the universe had in mind. And I think this is the perfect timing for me, and you will figure it out. And you are no different. You are strong enough to figure it out, and it will force you to think differently that you're not thinking right now. It's pretty freaking cool. I've gotten a lot of questions about like what my birth plan is. Like how do I plan on birthing this baby? And when I tell people this, they look at me like I'm a freaking psycho, but I have always wanted to do an unmedicated birth. I'm just super curious on what that is like. Maybe a lot of y'all know I've been an athlete my entire life. I'm very in tune with my body. I've pushed it to the gills, which is like literally my favorite thing to do. And I feel like there's nothing like pushing your body physically and mentally to that point. And so my plan, we all know that plans usually don't go to plan, but my plan is to have an unmedicated birth in a hospital with a midwife and a doula present. Again, your birth plan, it is totally up to you, completely personal. I am not against medication whatsoever. Like if I have to go in for a C-section or something happens, I'm totally open to that. As long as I have a healthy baby boy, we're going to figure it out. But preference-wise, I want to have an unmedicated birth because I am just so curious about it. I have been around a lot of people who have had unmedicated births and have had beautiful stories to share about that. And I feel like if you're not around people to hear those stories, birth is really terrifying. And the videos that we see and how it's shown in movies and TV shows is the scariest thing ever. Why would you want to do that? Isn't there like some stat or something where people say that birth is like worse than being burned alive pain wise or something? Like who the hell would want to do that? But I do believe that we are made to do this. We have been doing it since humans were invented, since we existed. So clearly our body knows what to do, right? And that is what I want to choose to believe, and that is the route that I am going. And I've talked to so many people who have experienced absolutely that and have beautiful births. And so yeah, we're gonna give it hell. I can tell you there's going to be some weird stuff coming out of my mouth. Well, probably coming out of everywhere, if I'm being honest. And we've also been interviewing doulas. So let's talk a little bit about doulas. I'm a newbie here, but I will tell you a doula is kind of like your birth coach that shows up for you, encourages you, is very like mentally there for you, can help your partner decide, how to support you best when you're in labor and you really have to be in labor and not trying to tell everybody around you. They'll also advocate for you to your providers that are in the room. This is her birth plan. She wants to stick to that birth plan. If there's anything that needs to be, shifted, they will ask the right questions. They will ensure they're just there to be your teammate. And being an athlete, I wanted that. I respond really good to someone kind of coaching me through this. Now, I interviewed 3 different doulas, and I wanted to make sure that I just felt the most utterly comfortable and excited to be around this person than like literally anyone, because this is the most intimate thing that you're going to be doing in your entire life, most likely. So you want to make sure that your doula that is present with you is like, you guys are good, like good. Okay. And the first 2, I just, didn't feel connected to, and I had to trust my intuition. I was ready to choose a doula. I'm like, I'm ready. Let's do this. I just want to get this over with and mark that off the to-do list, but I really did have to listen to my intuition, which we got to do that in all ways in our life. But I think particularly within this, and trust that you will know when you know. And we had a call actually this morning with 2 doulas. They're a doula duo, which I think is awesome because you get the care from 2 doulas. And if one is, on call or has been in a birth for 4 days prior to that and they're too tired and they can't show up 100%, you have the other doula there with you. And it just felt good. It felt like they connected with me. It felt like they really connected with Ryan. And I'm telling you this because I just want you to trust your instincts when it comes to who you want in the room and what kind of support you want to have. And furthermore, you are going to have to decide who you want in the room. And I know it might be hard to not hurt some people's feelings, but again, this is the most personal and intimate thing that you need that room to be you. You want that room to be like a nice hug that nothing is going to deter your attention from the most important thing that's going on within you. So think about that. Do you want your mom? Do you want your dad? Do you want your sister or your brother or whoever it is? But like, do you really want them in there? And if you don't, that now is the time to speak that truth, not in a way that, causes them to be defensive. It's just truly creating the most comfortable space and room for you and your partner. And I don't know who's going to be in my room just yet. I'm figuring that out. I have no idea. I know my husband will be there. I know my doula will be there. Maybe my mom. I really just have no clue. And that's the thing. You don't have to have it all figured out because you sure as hell won't have it all figured out. Pregnancy is just such a wild thing. It's so wild. And we are all going to have different symptoms. It's going to show up differently for all of us, just like life does. This might be TMI. This might be embarrassing, but oh my God, my gas, it comes on at night. Oh my God. I have never experienced anything like it. Okay. It is the paint is like melting off of the walls. I just cannot believe it. I'm so excited to not have this at some point. Constipation. I'm on prunes, kiwis, magnesium. I was taking Miralax. I mean, your girl was doing everything. I drink hot lemon water in the mornings. You got to do anything you can to keep yourself going because it's not if you're going to be constipated, it's when. And if you have a friend that's pregnant, it's when she's going to be constipated. You might maybe laugh at her farts, but just know there's going to be more coming and she can't help it. Okay? She can't help it. And that is where I am at. It's tough. But I would say for me, pregnancy has been overall very easy. I didn't have any morning sickness. Sleep has been a little tough. My boobs are getting huge and they're really tender. The constipation and the gas have been the absolute worst, I would say. But other than that, just as much as we know that pregnancy can be really hard, and we talked a little bit about that, it can also be pretty easy for some people. And it doesn't mean that one person is doing something right or something wrong. It's just how our body responds to hormones. And what I'm learning is that it can change from pregnancy to pregnancy. So I might be okay, hunky dory now. It might get harder in a few weeks or next time I have a baby, because we are talking about baby number 2, even though we haven't had baby number 1 yet. But I love the idea of them having siblings because I grew up as a basically like a only child. My half brothers are much older than me. You have the same mom, not the same dad. And so we never really grew up in the same house. Having oh my God, I'm sorry if there's like dog hair all over my mic. That's probably distracting to some of y'all. But because I grew up an only child ish, I've just always loved the idea of having a sibling and someone close in age. So yes, we are talking about having baby number 2, and that can mean that pregnancy number 2 might be a total shit show. But again, what's the theme of this? We can do hard things, okay? So I want to start a new segment when it comes to this show called Messy Truth, which is just a quick little messy truth. Pretty messy human, you get it. And this is going to be a segment that I do moving forward with all of my guests and have them tell us a messy truth that's just straight to the point. So my messy truth today is sometimes the scariest things in our life will be the thing that expands our world more than we ever thought possible. And pregnancy is a great example for me, but I can also think of other examples when it comes to breakups, having hard conversations, singing still terrifies me today. But I'm so glad that I've been brave enough to get up there and do it. Moving to a different city, quitting your job, asking somebody out, whatever is the scariest thing for you, I just don't see how that doesn't expand your life and expand your world and expand what you thought was possible. And it's just about being brave enough to step into the unknown, trusting that that place is going to help you grow as a person. And yeah, right now I'm growing a baby. Can you see my belly? I'm growing a baby, but I'm also growing a completely new, expanded version of Whitney. And honestly, I'm just so excited to meet her, and I'm excited for you guys to meet her. So thank y'all for being here for this podcast. I feel like we were on FaceTime for that one. You know, I wish we could talk back and forth. Maybe there's a way that I can figure out how to do that in the future. Maybe a live stream. That would be fun. But I hope this was helpful for some of y'all, just to give some insight into like what pregnancy is like, how it changes your mind, and just maybe just a slightly new perspective from me. So love y'all. See you soon. If you liked this episode, please, please, please subscribe, rate, comment, do all of the things, share it, because you know, the algorithm gods control everything. And I'm just little old me trying to make this thing run. And it really does, one, make me super happy when I see the comments and I can talk back to y'all, like I was just saying, but it just helped this show out. So love y'all. See you soon.